Greetings and salutations, everybody. How's it going out there in YouTube land? Peter's on deck. Vince just popped in. Hi, Vince. How you doing? Peter, and probably have some others show up as we go along too. We never know what's going to happen next. So anyway, we have a lot of interesting things going on today. We have Void Linux. Yeah, my first time actually installing Void Linux, and it's an interesting process, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's its own distro, so it has that. Before we get all of that stuff, though, first, I gotta get my coffee. I've got Guatemalan coffee here for my evening coffee drink. Some of you can't handle coffee in the evening, but it doesn't affect me badly, so I drink it. So, what do you got going on? Anybody have any interesting stuff to talk about? Yeah, I do sort of, because last week I did the MX Linux install, as you might know if you're watching or watch the video, whichever one happens to be. And I took the easy way out on the partitioning part, So then the thing was, I didn't really realize what it was going to do for a swap file, since it didn't mention anything about it at all. And after I got on the distro, I forgot to look and see what it put on the disk. Well, come find out, it does create a swap file, and it just created a basic swap file, like a swap partition basically, and not a swap file, but a swap partition, if I can talk right, and that kind of thing. So, via the void, yeah. So yeah, so swap partition. So I had that in mind. I had swap partition was going to go in there, and yeah, so it didn't say anything about it at all on the installer, MX Linux installer. So I assumed that meant that it was going to be that didn't put one on there. Didn't say anything about it, but it actually did. It put about a 8 GB, I think it's 8 GB standard swap install on it. I remember what I put on the virtual machine that I installed on last week on, but when I put it on my other laptop over here, the old Acer Aspire, old Acer Aspire that I've had forever. Yeah, it created about 8 gig swap partition on it, and yeah, or it was going to. Is what I was wanting to do, but I checked it. But anyway, 16 gigs. Peter says his swap partition is 16 gigs big. I guess it's so you can do the hibernate. Yeah, hibernation part of it. So yeah, because if you got 16 gigs on your memory, you gotta have a 16 gig plus swap partition in order to hibernate properly. So, but it installed 8 GB on the laptop over there. It had a 1 TB drive, so it had like 6 gigs of memory on it. So it's not a very powerful or big. So I guess it's good enough to hibernate that too. Yeah. So I don't know if they installed it for the purpose of having enough to hibernate or what. So it didn't say what they were doing on it. So it installed a swap partition on it, and yeah, it installed a. So I went when I put it on this machine. After I checked that, I backed out of that, and went to the custom partitioning. That was different. Yeah, since they wrote the whole installer themselves, so it's their own unique installer basically. It had a unique install process to it. Yeah. Speaking of void, hey Peter. Spence says, no, it's Steve's very own, excuse me. Yeah. So we have I keep hearing David Tennant say in my head, "By the void." And speaking of void, hey Peter. Hey, hi Grumpy, how you doing today? Yeah, Steve is picking on Peter again apparently. Yeah. I also installed, as you probably noticed if any of you watched the Telegram, I installed on this laptop, framework laptop, the Void with Oz. AHS. That's how you say it. Make it simple. Oz. So installed it successfully on this. Is what it's running right now. What OBS is running on, and everything on my system here is installing. So it works good. So yeah, no problems there. And installed with the 5.14. I think he says supposed to go up 16 kernel. Excellent. So anyway, that's working good and sweet. And I might show you a little bit of that. My don't have to worry, Peter, too. I didn't put any wildflowers on it, so even though it's wildflower edition, I got a sunshine and rose, not roses, just sunshine on it. So you don't have to worry about that part of it if I show them the desktop. And there you go. So I guess we ought to get started on this void. Go into the void. Now, let me show you the interesting thing here. Let's see. Yeah, we should be looking at my web page, not my web page, but it's Void's web page, which tells you the Void Linux distribution. Void is a general purpose operating system based on the monolithic Linux kernel. This package system allows you to quickly install, update, and remove software. Software is provided in binary packages or can be built directly from sources with the help of the XBPS source package collection. Yeah, so that's what that is. Now, XBPS is a package manager, but it's like spread over several things at XPDS. Yeah, well, it says in and also I need to take over documentation pages. Manual pages like your man pages on there, and you can look up individual commands and stuff on there. The documentation has all documentation you could ever want. Well, yeah. So you got all this stuff over here. History, about the handbook, enter docs, all that kind of stuff. So you can read all that for yourself, I assume. But here you got package manager, and you got all this information on package managers. XBPS query, XBPS install, XBPS remove, XBPS reconfigure, XBPS alternatives, and you also have package DB, which can report and fix issues in the package database as well as modify it, and XBPS index. So you got a lot of XBPS dash pro options there you can use on your installs and stuff like that. So that's cool. So and it tells you what you do to update to. So yeah, that's cool. Now, if you go to downloads here, yeah, that's where you download and you select which kind you want. You can have your options of a 64-bit operating system, 32-bit operating system, ARM, or ARM platforms. And over here you have your base live images. Well, this is on 64-bit. And these are just base installs. They just install the base packages. I don't even think they install a desktop on it at all. So, yeah, unless you are desktop literate and want to know about that, that's probably. I also need to preface this with that Void probably isn't for newbies. You know, it's kind of like semi-experienced, at least people that have some experience with Linux and command lines and stuff like that. If you're scared of command line, don't try Void. You have to install a command line, not like old Arch, but with an installer nonetheless. Anyway, yeah, live install for mole and one for GILBC. This is one most people probably want. This is a different tool set than what that one has, so it's a little bit different, but I don't know how different it actually looks. On screen it may just all be under the hood type stuff, you know. So anyway, that's why I chose live image. The XLBC says live image. Yeah, it is. So anyway, let's boot into this, see what we got going on, okay? Okay, over in boxes. We got this. Go to image files. And MX Gotham MX 17. It's some I downloaded. It's a clunky version I downloaded for it. For MX. Anyway. See documents, downloads. Your Linux here. And we want void. This is the ISO for void that I downloaded, what it looks like. And open that up. Customize it. We're going to get more than 2 gigs of data. I usually give these 4 just for testing sake. Well, 21.5 gigabytes is fine, so we'll go with that and create. Now it'll boot up into its live environment, so you get to see what it looks like, so to speak, in that environment. So yeah. House, Kentucky. Hey, LQ Larry. Good to see you here. Got Steve, LQ Larry, Peter Patterson, then Spence. Saw Vince some grumpy, yeah. So we're having a good crew tonight. Here we are on the XFC desktop. And you see nothing pops up in the way of a welcome menu or installation menu, but you do have installation. Oh, no, you don't have an installation menu on this. That's one of the things that's different about this. No installation menu involved. Because what you do is you open up a terminal and you start from there. But first we're going to set this display so it looks a little bit better. Oh, no. Forget my system wants to. Get out of the way, guy. Okay, so yeah, application. And you get it down to system. Usually see, where was that? I remember I had it all figured out where it was at. Settings. Down here, display. We're going to go with our 18 or 1680 by 1050. That looks better, doesn't it? And we'll make it full screen so we don't have a lot in the way. Yeah, it says what it installs on here is this basic X vanilla menu here. It's basic XFC menu. And it's very vanilla, so we won't be talking a lot about once we boot up, it'll show how to install the XBPS. We'll go through that a bit, but and we'll also look at a few other things, how to add your configuration on. But for the most part, we'll just be doing that kind of thing. For the most part, we'll be looking at installer, which will give you enough to look at, really. So how you install it, you go in here. Let's and we'll raise this up, make it a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. And we will go, let's see, void sudo, I think, don't you? Yeah. Sudo void installer. And it's a basic Incursus installer. Ugh, if I can talk today. So Welcome to Void Linux installation. Simple, minimal Linux distribution made from scratch and built from the source package tree available for XBPS, a new alternative binary package system. Yeah, one of the things about the XBPS system is it's one of the faster ones I've seen. Probably on a equal footing, at least equal footing with GNOME. No, not GNOME. Forget that. No, with the Arch Pac-Man. Pretty. So we'll hit enter. And here you have your installation menu. Yeah, you can enter up and down and navigate the menus. And use tab to switch between buttons and enter to select. So set the system keyboard. You gotta do that first. I hit U to get down to U so I can skip all those things. And because it's US right there. If you're in UK or other places, there's other options there. Okay, that's done. So if you just push enter, it takes you to the next step automatically, except in one spot where I had trouble with it one time, but see if it works this time or not. So set up the network. So it has the Ethernet cable because I'm on a VM, so it assumes it's Ethernet. So yeah, we want to use that. You want to use D8CP for Etho0, yep. And network is properly working, which you'd expect being on a virtual machine. Yeah, I noticed it. I read one or watched one reputed OBT, I think, channel where he talked about this, and he said that if you install local, which is the next part you're going to do, setup is that you don't have to, you don't really have to install it for, you don't have to have the network available to install this system on with XFC desktop. Matter of fact, if you select local here, that's what you want if you want to install a desktop. Otherwise, it just installs the base system only if you use a network. So if you're going to do something like maybe a server or something like that, it'd be ideal. But if you want an actual desktop on there installed on for your behalf, you not only want your network, so you don't really have to have the network and set up to run this and install OBS. And then you can set them in OBS. Yeah, you don't have to set it up to install the XFC desktop and all that kind of stuff. Once you get it installed on there, then you can set it from the normal network manager type thing. So we're going to say OK to that. Host name. We'll call this what we call void VM, I guess we'll call it. And then we set system locales. And we're going to go American. I'm not Arabic. Oh yeah, this is English. You gotta do English, not American. Yeah. So yeah, that's a locale, which is kind of different from that. And it has something to do with how it sets things. Now it sets time zone, which is where you American. And I go down to Denver, so I can put in the mountain time zone, which is where I'm at. Yay. Okay, now you set your root password. So we're going to put in our password for root. Oops. Enter the second time. And now you set your user account. Now this is your primary login name, which is like where it says enter your full name on other things. And here, Rick is going to be my username where I log in at. And you the password for it. Now you go into this other part where it asks you what membership you want for your so you enter a spacebar to see we are in the wheel group, so that's good. We're going to have sudo privileges. And you got floppy and disk and other things you may want here, but probably don't need for this purpose. Network, storage, scanner, printers, all that kind of stuff, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, so then when you set that up and you have everything checked off you want to be part of in a group, then you just hit enter. Defaults are pretty much okay if you just want a standard user of that kind. Okay, now the bootloader, this is where you get the partitions and stuff. It gets a little more different. And you notice down here, we have file system. Now what I didn't realize when I went to partition my disk originally was that I was looking for where I set the mount points, and you actually set it in this next part, file system mount points. You don't set them in here. So you get that in a minute, but bootloader, there's only one disk on this VM, obviously, so it's selected. If you had solid on machine, you'd have other possible disk options you could use, so you put it where you want to. Use a graphical terminal for the bootloader? I guess so. Default's yes, so I guess I'll use the default. Then we use a partition disk. So that's disk we're going to partition, yeah. So we go okay. We're going to use C disk, which is easier to use than F disk, because I've done F disk before, but I almost have documentation to use it that way. You almost need this documentation for this to use it too. So, okay, so CF disk will be executed in disk dev.vda. For BIOS systems, and it tells you all this information about BIOS or G-parted systems, that kind of thing. What you need to do that, and toggle below scrub enabled, and you'll need this on EFI systems, so on and so forth. So we got all that, so we'll hit OK on that. Now we're going to enter this on, since this is just VM, and it has such a small, relatively speaking, small file. It's like 20,000 times bigger than my first computer's hard disk, but that's beside the point. We're going to use a DOS or M whatever it's called, MDOS, imparted, whatever. Can't remember all of a sudden. Anyway, SGI and SUN, I'm not sure what those are, but other label types you can select. Usually if you use a EFI disk, you have EFI partition, you want to create boot partition, all that kind of stuff, you need to be GPT, G-parted, not G-parted, but GPT. We're going to use it also. And so then you have this here, and you write new, you can click new, you can click quit, help, write, or dump. You want to take a dump. Dump partition table to SF disk compatible script file. So we don't need that, so we're going to do this. It's got free space, which is selected there, 20 eggs. So we're going to create, hey, let's see, what could we create now? It's easy to create a big partition, but we aren't that fun. We aren't that easy. We don't want to be that easy, do we? We want to pay. Now, you don't really need a swap file on this side of the partition. But we're going to create one anyway for the fun of it. So we want 4 gigs. Partition size. Primary. And we want to go here to type and set it as a swap. Oh, it's up here. So that sets it as a swap file. Now we're going to set up another type. So we gotta go down this, do that, set new. You always gotta go down the free space. You can use your up and down arrow to move between the two like that. But you have free space if you want to create a new partition on it. So now we'll create this one. We'll make it a 15. Yeah, I don't want to make it too small. 16 gigabytes. Yeah, we'll just put the. I was going to make home partition too, but this will demonstrate how you make partitions. Easy enough, I think. So, primary. And that's going to be type. It's going to be our root file. Root. They have options here, don't they? Just a Linux file is what it says, yeah. And it's one of the defaults too, is Linux. Just a Linux file. And so when you got all that Linux swap, Linux file in place, then you write it to there. And it says write partition table to disk. Now it's actually writing to your disk, so if you have anything you want to keep, remember you're like, oh, no, I need to back this stuff up or something. You need to do it before you do this part. Do this part, it destroys all your data on your disk. So, yes, we want to, you gotta tap on full yes. Okay. Now I also want to make this bootable. We need to write it again because I forgot to make it bootable. See the little asterisk that popped up there? That indicates this is a bootable file, bootable disk on here. Now we need to write it again since we changed it. Okay. Now we quit out of this. Now we're in file systems. Yeah, this is the part where it didn't keep moving up to the file system before last time I used it, and now it is. So must have done something right that time, I guess. Didn't do last time. So you go to file systems. And you go, this is your BDA1, which is our swap file we put in there. So we need to change this. I'm going to put this Linux swap. You want to create a new file system on DB1, yes. We go down to 2, do the same thing, change that. We're going to put it as our Linux ext4 journal file. And we're going to put it as the root partition, so we have one slash there. Yes. Okay, then we're done. That's it. It's simply so, isn't it? Look, it didn't move from there. So now we go and install. Start installation with safe settings. Okay, and it says, warning, data on partition will be completely destroyed for new file systems. Do you want to continue? Why, yes, we do. Since there's nothing on that VM disk set. Counting files. Now it's installing stuff and things like that. So it goes pretty quick, about 2 minutes or so, depending on the speed of your computer. Pretty fast Linux install, I think. Hi, Nate. Let's see. Anybody else show up that I missed while I was both busy working on all that stuff? Yeah, I always say my mind, the DOS mind, said that I don't have multitasking very well, so that's what it's yet. So anyway, it's installing away on that. And yeah. Yeah, when we go over to while that's installing on that, we have to pop it up out of here. Hold on, it's rebuilding from start. It's almost done, I think. Usually it's like one of the last things they do when they install a little system on there. So it's rebuilding init RAM FS for tart, which I guess is me. Probably okay. Oops, it said something about liner. But then it says it's installed successfully. We'll see. Want to reboot the system? Yes, we do. So we'll reboot. And we'll go through there. Okay, there we are at the Void Linux Scrub menu. Yeehaw. And we're at the login. Exciting, isn't it? Let's see, user, Rick, password. I guess I didn't enter right. Oh. We'll go into root. It seemed like maybe I had this problem last time. I don't remember what it was, but something about it. We'll do open up a terminal here, see we're in the root environment. And we will set password for Rick. User root does not exist. That's weird. No wonder it wasn't doing anything. It said it didn't exist. I must have done something wrong under my set my user there or something like that. So, I wonder what user I did set up. Let's see what user it created for me. CD home. Nothing. It didn't create no user at all. That's interesting. Create a root but not a user. So I guess I need to create a user first. I have to remember. I haven't created a user on this, so I'm not sure what. Which it probably doesn't have user add, so it probably has add user or not. I mean, it doesn't have user add user, has add user add probably. Yes, it does. All right, let's try that then. User add. Let's see. I'm trying to remember all my commands for that. So I think if you put G groups, am I right on that? You then put wheel groups and all that stuff. I don't know what I did wrong there, but anyway. But we'll just add Rick. And then give his password. New password. Password updated successfully. Now, I don't know, I may not have a home directory. No, I mean, I may have a home directory, but not all the files you normally see in a home directory. All the directories you normally see in a home directory. Yeah, we need to set our display so it's bigger too, don't we? So it's not so tiny. See, I increase the size of it here a little bit. Help you keep your eyes from being going on off on you. So we need to see what groups we're in. Groups. Rick. Whoops. Spell my name right, it will help, wouldn't it? Just in Rick, so I need to be put in the wheel directory, right? So that's user mod, I believe. G wheel. And let's see what other ones we needed in there. Probably rec or user. And I'm not familiar with all of them, so I guess I'll have to do for now. Group user does not exist. Wheel does, I assume. So and we're in the red group, that's all the group we're in. So anyway, user mod. You at least be in the wheel group. Okay, now I get this name. Must have not been entered somewhere right or something. Okay, well, I have to do everything from root. That's kind of dangerous, but yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah, if I use add user, which I like that one, it's more straightforward, I think, and that kind of thing. Okay, let's scan up here and see what we got. Okay. Primary group, and okay. Yeah, I thought I did it right then. User mod G wheel. Oh, I forgot to add rec on the end, didn't I? Yep. That's what I forgot to do. So now, groups, rec, I'm in the wheel group, yay. So now, we should be able to log out of this. And then I get in my main one. Direct. So you see, I didn't even do it if you mess up. And there I am in my user group. Yay, I'm Rick. With sudo privileges to boot, so I can change anything I need to in here. First, we're going to go to let's go ahead and put that back up so we get all that mess out of the way. And we run down here to just play again. Change it back to something more reasonable. And apply that. Keep that configuration. And I should say this way every time I reboot, it would be if I was to boot up in this more often, which I probably have to do when I do an update on it, but yeah. So anyway, got our terminal down here and maximize it. So we'll increase the size of it so you can see better. And we will experience the joys of XBPS, if I can say it right. The first thing you want to do is you want to update your system. So yeah, if you remember the command, that is XBPS install sudo u. It's kind of why I say that the XBPS installer package manager is similar to, it's like a mixture of apt and pacman all together into one package manager. Pretty interesting. So you click that. Oh, you gotta add sudo to it too. I forgot that. How do you think with sudo without sudo on there? Is it? Okay, there's our normal sudo thing. Okay, now it's updated. You want to continue? Yes. It's got all this 491 megabytes size downloads. So we go yes. And it begins updating the system. Simple as that. Now, while it's updating the system, we'll go over to here. We'll close this out. Oh yeah, I'm on my old system. And here's my desktop for my MX Linux install on there that I've got cooking. And I like it pretty much. Yeah, it's got a lot of interesting features and stuff, a lot of tools you can work with. I got my Bluetooth in working on it. I don't see it cooking up right now, but I got it working on it. OBS Studio. Oh, it's probably got it hidden in directory. Oh, I got 3 new updates available already. Yeah. So it's just a quick look at my AMX Linux, not to focus on AMX Linux because we're not focusing on AMX Linux. But anyway, you notice I avoided the wildflowers, Peter. Yeah. See you, Larry. Peter's leaving, I guess it's Peter. Y'all, it's been a long day starting work. I was heading out to bed later. Bye, Peter. You probably are gone, but yeah, you're seeing this. So anyway, we'll go back over here to workstation 3, where you got the gnome boxes cooking. Still frying up that. While that's still going on there, we're going to go over here to workstation 4. Look at my, or no, this is workstation 4 on the VM, not the. Okay, here we are. I promise you I get this, so I'm going to get to it real quick while it's updating. And this is install my packages. I'm just going to show you quickly what I did because I think I've gone through the old one. I can install new packages deb. I had one of these for each distribution I worked on. Now I can add XPPS in here too. So, but anyway, I install my packages, and it's one that incorporates no matter what distro you're on. It'll pick up the package manager it's using and use it to install whatever files you have, a package you have installed in there. So I got that copied, and we will nano into this. Yeah, so here, I got a lot of documentation in here. I try to add the most documentation people can know what's going on, follow script, that kind of thing. So it installs your common package if not already installed, program install list, your personal list of programs you want to install. Not all of them are going to be installed, but this could make an attempt to do so. You can add or subtract or change these packages at your pleasure. So what basically means is that obviously not every repo is going to have every distribution of every package you want to install in there. Some of them you aren't going to be able to install, some will have them. But it'll let you know which ones it does. Now here in the plist section, right here, this is where it's going to pull, it's trying to install packages out of your repo. Right there. And here's where it'll install packages out of your Flatpak version. And I added this in recently. I updated this part of it so that you could add these in. And if you want to bring up the long file name to install OBS Studio, yeah, you put in Flatpak search short name. So, like, I don't know if this actually brings up Flatpak search studio, brings the long file name, but I think it will because it's studios in the. It's basically this. Where did I put it? Yeah, right, it's first one. This is the com file for OBS Studio. Now, the reason I did it this way is because the other way is not automatically going to pull up the right thing. It's pull up the exact thing you want. So, yeah, you don't have to have any user interaction when you do these. Then also it adds down here, it has a package manager list you can add, but if you add one in here, you need to add it down in the bottom section. And where the package manager, you'll see that in a minute. But so this, then we go through this trigger, which basically figures out which package manager you got on the system. And if it doesn't find it, any one of these package managers, it'll give us error message here. your sorry distro package manager is not in my list. And it'll tell you how to do it if you want to do it otherwise. So then we have down here, this is an interesting part of the file. So it creates this file called wd-info. And it's called home dash, you can set it here, you can set it to whatever you want it to be. I put a wd-delete me text.txt. It's a text file that will be used to display a summary of actions at the end of the list. So it'll tell you the whole thing, what got installed, what didn't, that kind of thing, and tell you probably why most of the time. See, installation of blah blah blah, package 1 was successful. Puts it in green color if it's successful. If it didn't install it, then it'll put it in red. So I have all those red colors. Now the function, I've created a function basically for when I really not sure I need the upgrade function, but I had it included, so I just left it in there basically. But I use this section for more than just this file. Anyway, it creates this pack list function, which will install any packages listed to it. And it's got one for all the different versions. This is where you have to, if you enter a new package manager, you have to enter it in here. Now, one difference I have here is that it'll automatically install for the non-free version RPM Fusion of packages there, non-free releases. Automatically install those. You go through if you have DNF installed, which is basically your Fedora versions. And anyway, it goes down the package zipper, and that's the end of the list. Now, so this will install all the packages, so it basically will send first it processes it, because OBS is kind of particular. If you put OBS in there, you have to do OBS for it to find it in which command. But then once you find it, if it is, then you gotta make it OBS Studio to install correctly. It's kind of weird that way. And so then it sends that function with the program name to install it if it's worthy to be installed, which it tests out there. Which means if it doesn't find it, if the error code's greater than 0 on this which statement, then it will try to install it. And if it's already installed, it will tell you that and it'll skip over it. So it only tries to install programs that it hasn't already installed in your system. And so that means you can run this over and over again as many times as you want. If you make any adjustments or add a new package or subtract a new package, you want to install it without having to worry too much about it, you just click on that and away it goes. Now here's Flatpak. It does the same thing basically. Sudo Flatpak mode add, and this establishes flathub.org repo for Flatpaks. So it says adds that in. And then you have to go through this thing where I extract the name of it. The name of it's usually the last thing on the end of the com file that you see. Some of them have 3, some have 4, some of them I know might even have up to 5. So I'll put 5 options in here. So this used awk, which basically says a period is a separator, and it prints what prints base 1 through 5. If it doesn't equal empty space, then it will echo that into the container as to what it is. So J here will always equal whatever the name of the program is. And if there's errors, maybe it's there. If it gets to the spot, if J equals nothing, then it'll flag it that it couldn't find the name for the file for the program. Now you have a short name, and you can check to make sure the program is not already installed from the repos or by Flatpaks. So we'll check the repos first, and we'll check the Flatpaks. And if it's already installed, if it's not installed by either one of those, it'll install it. Non-interactive install right there, That's the whole command version. They pulled from the up in the flat pack list. And yeah, then you have whether it's successful or not. And then it goes and does that till it's done, gone through the whole list of flat packs you want to install. And then we'll clear. It'll print the WD info file is what the thing is, and then it sleeps 5 minutes and it removes the file for you and it exits. So that's the process that whole thing. You can install pretty much whatever you want. The only thing you have to do if you wanted to install it is up here at the top of the file. You set what programs you wanted to install out of the repos, which Flatpak you want to leave in there if you're going to install Flatpaks and it's not already installed. And Gscan and any other ones that you have. And you can then do the search, Flatpak search in the terminal to pull up these names. And then you pull that out and you stick it in. So what I have in here is OBS Studio. I have Strawberry Music Player. I have Celluloid Player, Krita, Inkscape, and LibreOffice, and my Shortcut Video Editor are all good options there. So yeah, you can put whatever else you want in there too. Pretty cool, huh? So it should be done cooking by now, I think, over here on it went dead on us too while we were sitting there. Yes, it's finished configuring, finished updating, all that good stuff, so it's done. Now, if we want to install some on here, because right now, if you notice, this is like basic applications. Yeah, so you have the basic settings that they have in here for XFC's desktop settings. Most of these are standard. Window Manager tweaks, workspaces, things you've all seen before probably. Accessories, Mousepad, Task Manager, Thunder File Manager, Bulk Rename, Application Finder, Development, Icon Browser, Graphics, Stereo Image Viewer, Internet. You see there's no graphic hardly in there at all. You just got an image viewer and that's it. Then you have Firefox, the only internet option you got right there. Pro Media Player and System. And yeah, so you got Bulk Rename, Task Manager, Lunar, and XFC Terminal. And then you got about XFC and Logout, obviously. So not a lot there. They have a very stripped down version of it, so you can install what you want to. That's basically part of the appeal of it for a lot of people, is that a lot of people like the base system, so they don't have to uninstall a bunch of stuff. Just install what they want on it. Using my script file. That makes it pretty fast and easy too, if you have that set up already. All you got to do is copy it over to your hard drive on here from a flash drive or something you have it on hand. Then you run the script and bada bing bada boom. It installs all that stuff for you. I'll demonstrate that here, but I don't think it would take too long. I can show what it looks like, how it runs on my system here in a minute, but yeah, so file system. So anyway, I was going to show how you install stuff on here. Yeah, we'll go back up to this again. And we will look at how we're going to install a whisker menu. Alright, so we're going to search for it first. xbps-install. No query for searches, excuse me. Query. And if I remember right, I think you just put repositories and S. Yeah, you have to put a capital R for repository, so it's going to search repositories. If you don't put an R there, then it searches your local file system. So then you put an S there, small s, that tells it to do a search on for this thing. So then we see what we're doing. Let's see what file we're looking for. Oh yeah, whisker menu. Whisker. And that's pretty fast, huh? So you have to see whisker menu plugin, alternate menu for XFCE. So then if you want to make it simple, you just copy this part of it here. You can copy all of it if you wanted to go up to there. Obviously this isn't part of the file, but yeah, you can copy just that much if you want to. Copy that. It was a Shift Control C. We put in sudo xbps install, and we should be able to just use that, and away we go. And it asks if we want to do that, and say yes. So that's how fast it works. And so then you have that installed, and you should see that in your widget menu when you do your XFCE panels. So we'll X out of that. Go up to our panel, hopefully without triggering that thing. Panel preferences. Unlocked panel, so we can move things around when we want to. So we won't put it in the right place. It's going to stick way over the end somewhere, something like that. Go to items. It should have down here whisker menu somewhere. Oh, these are current whisker. You add, you got to go down here. These are all the ones that are on there right now. So add. Brings up this thing. There's a whisker menu right there. Add that in. You're over here. Whisker menu. So close that. Now you can remove this. We'll leave it there for now so it'll be easier to find out where we're moving it to. Then we go over here. We'll click on this, go move. And we move it over here, right there. On that side of the panel, so it's right there is where it's at. Okay. Then we'll close this out. Oh no, we need to remove the whisker menu. I mean, not the whisker menu, but the application menu first. Yeah, we'll remove it. And close. Right up here, we can relock the panel. Lock that. And then you have your whisker menu. Now you can set this to open on the what I usually do is to help it avoid like you use your keyboard. Application shortcuts. Yeah. Like super easy to bring up Thunar here. Yeah, I think it's XFC-4-pop-up-whisker menu. So I think you have to add that in because it's not by default it's in vanilla. So I'll add that in. XFC. Whisker menu. Whisker menu. I think that's right. It looks right. Yeah. So you press any key, which I usually press Shift D, Super D on it. Now it should bring up the menu when I do that. Yep, right there. Pretty cool, huh? So now if you wanted to just push Super key, you could install Escape, which is probably another video and stuff like that, so I'm going on all that. But yeah, because I found out if you just use Super key only on there instead of Super D, which you can do, you can just go here, edit, okay, press a key, and that will print up Super L right there. What the problem with that is, it causes though, is that if you want to go for, like, say, bring up your file manager, it'll bring up both things there. Or in some cases, it won't bring up anything. Just depends on the function you're trying to get activate there. You see when I actually have a desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, public templates. I actually have those things. Apparently I do. Interesting. With invisible graphics. That's the case where you want to change your icon set to something more noticeable, I guess. So anyway, that's the problem with that. So I usually but the reason it does that is because when you press down on the Super key, it brings up the menu, and so it brings up the menu. And then you hit D, or you hit another thing, it then will. And what Escape does is it causes it to only release Super L on the upstroke when you let up on it. So then you can use all your other shortcut keys with Super without a problem. So anyway, that's what I got there. And that XFCE's Whisker menu install. And this is Void Linux, vanilla XFCE. And that's how you install things. Just hit install. You can update your system by doing xbps install dash S for synchronize and U for update. Sort of like Pac-Man in that regard. So yeah. So let's see what else I've been missing while I've been doing stuff. Okay, Larry's left. Peter's left. Grumpy, I guess, still here, and Sleepy Eyed Vince is here, and Cubicle Nate's here, and I guess that's pretty much it, huh? Steve's probably in the background somewhere. Let's say to go pick up his son, that kind of thing. Which he's probably about that time for him to go pick up his son. So he has a son to pick up now. So yeah, that's cool. So that's been a little Void Linux installation. It's interesting. And I don't know what happened with the user thing, why that didn't get set up, but I must have done something wrong there when I was going through that setup. So don't do what I did. I don't know what I did because it was pretty straightforward, just setting up. I just need to set up Rick twice and for it to work or something, because I didn't do it twice. It put Rick Copple on one thing, it might have goofed it up or something, probably. So I assumed it was a full name type thing, but apparently not. Otherwise, it would say Rick Copple up here, wouldn't it? But it's just Rick. So, yeah. I think that's it, unless y'all have something more you want to talk about or whatever. I guess we're done for the day. Got it done about an hour or two. Just a little over an hour. Let's see, we've done that. Oh yeah, we're gonna do the we're gonna do this for you. So if you want to see what happens when I run it, it's install my packages. have to make sure to say mine because I also got one for new packages right below it that is different a little bit. So, yeah. See, it says all it's already on there. Everything, so it's now it's want to install stuff. So, sorry, try again. Okay. Now it's installing OBS Studio. Which I don't want to actually uninstall as soon as I do this. Hope it doesn't give this up anything, but at any rate, I'll X out of that because so that's what it does. Studio was not installed, but I exited out of it. That's good. Yeah, because I already got OBS Studio, so I repos on there because for some reason Flatpak version was goofing up on me. So, I didn't have that on there. So, there you go. That's all I have for today, I think. We will say goodbye to everybody. Bye, Nathan, Larry, Vince, Grumpy, and Steve, and Peter, who's already left. Peter said Rex user was sent into the void. Yep, that's apparently where it went. Larry said wheel floppy audio. Yeah, for our purposes here, I got everything I needed, but yeah, it's all those would be one to one on there. So that's good. Yeah. So Amiibo FS. It says. Well, yeah. So we'll see you next time. Until then, may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.